So it has been 1 month since millions of lives were uprooted and destroyed by the two powerful earthquakes that shook southern Turkiye and northwest Syria. The full extent of the catastrophe is now very evident. More than 50,000 people have died across both countries and millions are displaced. And many are still searching for their missing relatives. From Hatay, Elif Ural begins our coverage.
This is what's called a cemetery of the unknown. It's one of the many where those who lost their lives in earthquakes in southern Turkey are buried. But their identities were never recorded. Like lots of others, Tuba Kara has been asked to give a DNA test and apply to authorities for any news of her husband.
Yani hala haber yok. Hiçbir yerden ulaşamıyoruz.
We still cannot get any news about him. We cannot reach him from anywhere. We looked at every place we were supposed to, even to the cemeteries.
Birisi aldı ve hastaneye mi götürdü?
I don't know if someone took him to a hospital or maybe he lost his memory because we cannot find him anywhere.
In the weeks after the quakes struck, many of the dead were buried without being identified. Now their relatives are trying to find them. Meryem Yıldız from Hatay is a mother of 3. She saved 2 of her 3 children, but her 7-year-old son Çağdaş is still missing.
I don't think he's dead. I've never felt he's dead. I believe my son will come back to me safe and sound.
Meryem says she heard from witnesses that her son was pulled out from under debris alive.
Some old lady told me a boy looking like my son was taken by some people, but she didn't know who they were.
To find a missing person, family members give samples of their DNAs to the police and wait for them to check their records. Photos and DNA swabs taken from the dead have been recorded since the first day of the disaster. The government hasn't officially said how many people are still missing. Many family members are trying to find their loved ones by putting ads like these in different parts of the city. They're hoping that someone will recognize them so they can be reunited again. Elif Ural, Al Jazeera, Hatay, Turkey.
Well, Hashim Al-Habara joins us live from the epicenter of the first quake in Kahramanmaraş. And Hashim, 1 month on, but a long, long road still ahead.
Indeed, wherever you travel, you see destruction of biblical proportions across 11 provinces in southern part of Turkey. And every day it's the same constant struggle by the local communities. They're trying to pick up the pieces and move on. They're struggling with a wide array of challenges. The need to find their loved ones who are buried under the rubble, pick up some of the valuables in their homes, ID cards, bottles of olive oil, whatever they can salvage from under the rubble, as we're going to see in this report.
This is the moment Ruqayya has been waiting for. Excavators clear the rubble. She only has a few hours to salvage whatever she can. She has spent most of her life here, and now she has to confront the harsh reality.
I'm here with my family to collect anything that would help me connect with the past so that the memories of the place and the people I met lives on. This was once my house.
The authorities keep safe deposit boxes recovered from the rubble in police stations. Owners have to provide detailed lists of their belongings which should match police findings.
People are desperate to retrieve whatever they can from the debris, identity cards, furniture, jewelry and money. And sometimes all they want is only the medicine they left behind as they rush to survive the devastation. The reason they're taking risks is the fear this could be their last chance to recover whatever they can before it's forever gone.
Right after the earthquakes hit 11 provinces in southern Turkey, security forces launched a crackdown on robbers and rounded up looters. They also managed to retrieve cash and gold bars from destroyed banks and jewelry shops. Ali Çolakoglu is recovering his brother's belongings. He was rescued along with his family, but 7 other families didn't make it.
Aynen. Hatıra olarak alıyoruz. Onun haricinde bir şey değil yani.
What can you do?
You feel completely helpless in the face of calamity. I found a few items, mostly photos of my brother and his children. He has at least a few memories now to keep with him.
It's all about keeping memories alive and remembering those who couldn't make it, mostly buried in unmarked graves.
We're talking about the visible scars that you see on the ground, the mountains of rubble, the destruction and the devastation, but there's absolutely no way we'll be ever able to fathom the sense of emotional scars, those who are now struggling with the shattered lives, their loved ones who disappeared during the earthquake. People are now just looking forward to move on. They know that this is going to be a long journey ahead. They will move to container shelters with a promise by the government then that within a year from now, they will be able to finally find a permanent shelter that the government says is going to be safer, better and stronger. But what a journey for all those people who woke up one day and just within 120 seconds, they lost everything.
Indeed, such a tough time for all throughout this tragedy. Hashim, thanks for that. Hashim Mahabara reporting there. OK, my colleague Tom McRae spoke to Lucy Jones, who is a world-renowned seismologist, and she says that earthquake building regulations and preparedness have become more important for Turkey.
Before this big quake, how would you have rated Turkiye's preparedness for a big earthquake like this? Obviously, it's on a major fault line. Everyone knew that it was going to be prone to having a large earthquake. We've seen many earthquakes over the last couple of decades, in Turkey. So how would you rate their preparedness for something like this? And then how is it stacked up with what you've seen play out?
There are more people dead than I expected beforehand because of the code is very good. The engineers are very good. I worked with a lot of Turkish engineers. They're very much part of the international community. And that's why I want to see, have we missed something in creating the code or not? Turkey, in terms of scientific understanding and engineering expertise, it's up there with the rest of the world because they know they have a problem. They've had a lot of really dedicated scientists working to it. And this is where I feel like I don't know how much it's the lack of enforcement of the code and how much the international code really has failed and really hasn't understood what these type of earthquakes could be, because we haven't had a major strike slip earthquake with modern construction and the modern code since the code was really adopted in the last 20 years. So the studies are going to be important.
And you can see the full interview with seismologist Lucy Jones. That is at 14:30 GMT right here on Al Jazeera. So in rebel-controlled parts of northwestern Syria, survivors are still waiting for vital aid due to restrictions imposed by President Bashar al-Assad's government. Bagur is an aid worker and explains what still needs to be done to help those in need.
I am Thair Bakour. I am working in the humanitarian field in this region in the northwest of Syria. As this region, which had a long period of war for about 12 years, that this region in the northwest of Syria has a very weak or fragile infrastructure. One of the difficulties all the organizations had in this region is about the border gates. In such crisis or catastrophe, there should be first aid responses. We responded by immediately in the same day even to distribute carpets and blankets and mattresses for homeless people and hot meals and even heating materials. And lately we had our big project at Zuhur town, which was originally designed for displaced people, but we used it for people who were damaged by the earthquake. We responded to 1,000 families who were rehoused in this town, and we are still supporting them as much as possible.